Good evening, everyone. I'm Tom Calcagni.
And I'm Carol Paling. Welcome to WNDS TV's coverage of Primary 96.
We're coming to you tonight from Concord, New Hampshire. You know, the race for the White House is finally heating up despite all the snow and cold temperatures.
Well, Tom, as New Hampshire voters know, this race really began more than a year ago when so many of the GOP hopefuls began their first trips into the state.
And it has been quite a year. So before we look ahead, let's take just a second and look back at some of the political highlights of 1995. When those who would be president gathered at the state GOP convention almost a year ago, the campaign for the presidency took on form, if not shape. It was an opportunity for the candidates to try out those catchy phrases that would soon become a staple of the campaign.
I want to be your president for the right reason, because I can provide the leadership that America needs now till into the next century. Thank you very much.
But as we look back at that place and time a year ago, it would have been hard to imagine that this political year would be defined as much by who didn't run as who did. Voters seem to have a hard time getting excited about candidates with names like Bob and Phil and Pat. No, it was as if they were waiting for someone else to lift them from the political doldrums. Someone perhaps with a name like Colin. A lot of people are suggesting that your appearance here today is very gutsy, considering the speaker is in the state at the same time.
You mean people are saying I'm very courageous for coming here?
Indeed.
I think they got a good point.
Has the response yesterday and today convinced you perhaps to give a little more thought to making a run?
No, not really. I mean, I find an awful lot of people who walk up to me and say, you know, what you're doing as speaker is so important, and I'm so supportive of it. You know, please stay as speaker. I mean, it's the most flattering request I've ever had. So for the moment, I mean, the door is open, but not very much, and I'm frankly enjoying myself.
But with much left to be done in Congress and negative ratings through the roof, Gingrich decided not to run. How does it feel being sort of the icon of the Republican Party these days?
Well, I don't know that I'm the icon, but it feels great to be sort of the senior teacher. Maybe that's a better way to think of it. And
one man who doesn't have money problems is millionaire publisher Steve Forbes. He's been tossing money around like road salt to pay for political commercials, and it's paying off. Recent polls show him moving into second place in New Hampshire and Iowa behind Dole. You have come a very long way since you and I first talked back in October. Did you ever imagine that at this stage of the race you would be within striking distance of being the front runner?
It's happened a little faster than I expected, but when I got into the race, I did expect to go all the way.
Tom, this is really your second extended interview with Mr. Forbes, and I'm just wondering, have you seen any changes in him?
Oh, absolutely. The first time I talked with him, he was very, very stiff, very uncomfortable, but the second time he was much more at ease and much more self-assured.